There's definitely something sus going on with the Minneapolis governments, councils and police.
Approximately 9:03 a.m. this morning, Minneapolis police received a report of a shooting involving federal law enforcement in the area of East 26th Street and Nicollet Avenue on the south side of the city. Officers arrived and found an adult male with multiple gunshot wounds when they arrived. Life-saving aid was being rendered, and he was transported by ambulance to Hennepin County Medical Center, where he was later pronounced deceased. Based on the information that we have, which is very limited, this is a 37-year-old white male who is a Minneapolis resident, and we believe he is an American citizen. We have not been told any official reports of what has led up to the shooting, but we have seen the video that is circulating on social media.
Well, that should tell you enough.
Our demand today is for those federal agencies that are operating in our city to do so with the same discipline, humanity, and integrity that effective law enforcement in this country demands.
They're just standing idle for the most part, so I don't think they'll be going along with that.
We urge everyone to remain peaceful. We recognize that there is a lot of anger and a lot of questions around what has happened, but we need people to remain peaceful. In the area...
Peaceful? They're far from peaceful. They've had Mayor Fry in the background encouraging them to demonstrate, and Tim Waltz.
We have an unlawful assembly at this time. Minneapolis police have given multiple warnings for the crowd to disperse. So this is some of the aftermath of the shooting.
We just have a few moments here, but it seems to be some smoke is rising. I don't know if these are smoke bombs. It was peaceful when we began to talk, and we noted that rhetoric really matters now, and calming tensions really matters. What are we seeing on our screens now? What's your analysis of this?
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to keep things calm and, diffuse the tension. Again, Kaylee, this is not what agents ever want to have happen. It's insulting to hear this governor make it seem like, this is the wild, wild west and this is what they want to be doing. This is not what they want to be doing. They are literally enforcing the laws.
The government's corrupt. Tim Walz's government is completely and utterly corrupt.
Targeted interactions. These are targeted operations. They are simply doing their job. And again, without the details of who the subject is, whether they were someone that they were arresting, whether they were a bystander or protester, frankly, when you're looking at the deadly force policies, that's completely irrelevant. For them, they are literally looking at what we've gone over and over before. But my piece of advice to anyone in Minneapolis and frankly anywhere in the country, let the law enforcement do their job. If you have a problem, stay out of
the way of the law is the message.
Okay, we're going to switch now to some video that came into our newsroom. I'm watching this for the very first time along with you, so let's just watch together here as this unfolds. But this is a video that was shared with us via Facebook. It's unclear. There's about 30 seconds left. It's unclear if this was before or after the shooting. I do see some yellow tape off blocking the streets, so I'm not sure if this was after the ICE-involved shooting occurred or not. But okay, so this is the video that, again, I'm seeing for the first time with you. So let's watch whatever this is that's unfolding.
Okay, so you've got crowds interfering with the federal police. I'm about to run out.
There's about a minute and 15 seconds or so left on this, so it is a little bit of a lengthy video. You can see some sort of scuffle there on the ground in the
crowds
street.
Interfering with
looks
federal
like several
police.
Believed to be.
Okay, so they're in a dangerous situation now. They're antagonizing
Unclear at
the
this
federal
point,
police.
at least from my view, how many
them?
people are involved. But you can see definitely some people around.
You cannot antagonize the federal police. You'll get shot. Look.
Someone there on the ground kind of being dragged as well. But again, you can see from where this video starts, we don't know what led up to this, anything about how this began.
It's interference with the police. Why isn't she saying that?
Not even an hour ago.
we are also talking about the individual who was shot has died. We also have some video in that is circulating on social media that shows what led up to the shooting. We want to warn you, this could be very graphic and upsetting for some of our viewers. The video shows a bunch of federal agents actually having an altercation with the individual on the ground. You can see one of the agents come in, they are punching the man, and then all of a sudden you hear gunshots. We're not exactly sure where those gunshots came from, but the crowd erupts after that happens. And like you see, once again, there's an altercation between that individual on the ground, near 27th and
There are reports that apparently he was armed. I'm not sure.
Several officers on top of this individual. They are punching on him, and then you hear shooting and profanity.
And you'll see the flying monkeys that aren't with the federal police running off.
That are circulating on social media. It's been given to us, and we are sharing it with you as we learn more about what is exactly happening there and what happened at 27th and Nicollet. We're told that at 11:30 there will be a briefing by Mayor Jacob Fry as well as Police Chief Brian O'Hara. Since Operation Metro Surge began, they have been asking protesters and crowds to remain peaceful, and they will continue to do that again at 11:30 to briefing and talk more about this federal agent allegedly shooting an individual, and that individual, as we have learned, has died from his injuries. We do have several reporters on the ground. Adam Duxter's on the north side of where the incident unfolded, and Frankie McLister is on the south side of where this incident unfolded. We did hear from DHS, who wrote into CBS News and showed pictures saying that the individual who was shot and is now dead had a gun and 2 magazines on his person. They are also tweeting pictures of that to show that he did have a gun and 2 magazines. We did just show you this video that was given to us here at WCCO, showing those agents on top of that individual. Punches are being thrown by federal agents, and then the sound of gunshots.
Yeah, he's got a gun. He's got a gun. That's what would have come out.
Screen. Several agents, more than 4 or 5, are on this individual.
Yeah, he's got a gun. He's got a gun.
Swinging, and next thing they know, they kind of disperse, and we hear gunshots.
Dead.
That is video that is circulating on social media right now about what happened at 27th and Nicollet right before shots rang out, and now the
see when they ran off. He's got a gun. He's got a gun. Boom, boom. He's dead.
Who was shot, we are learning, is deceased. Governor Walz has also tweeted that he is aware of this happening. We're going to expect to hear from Mayor Jacob Fry as well as Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara at 11:30, and then we're told a press conference at noon.
Okay, the first thing you got to ask yourself is, what is this person doing interfering with the police? Federal police doing their job. They've been warned and warned and warned.
Actually, this photo is courtesy of the VA. So this is someone who obviously we're going to learn a lot more about from not only the family who has confirmed his death, but his co-workers, family members, those who loved him in the days that come.
Yes, we will keep that central to our coverage for sure.
Just looking. Yeah, let's go to Adam Duxter, who's been on the ground throughout the morning. And Adam, give us a sense of maybe how some of the vibe has really changed there over the last couple of hours.
Yeah, hi, Derek and company. A relief, I would say, for many here after hours of a tense standoff between federal agents and state patrol and conservation officers. Now we've heard cheering, we've heard clapping, we've heard that and everything else here. And the one thing we have heard from people here is that they don't plan to go anywhere anytime soon. We've seen just about every intersection or every direction at this intersection as you go barricaded. But I want to talk to one person here. Why? Yeah. And you have lived here for some time, just up the road for a period of time. How would you describe just the way as a Minneapolis resident that you're feeling right now?
Can I describe it not as a Minneapolis resident, but as an American citizen? Thank you. This started as a pretext about immigration and the fraud, whatever. It's well beyond that now. It's into your Second Amendment, it's into your Fourth Amendment, it's into your Sixth Amendment. This is so far beyond what people at home probably are watching going, it's Minneapolis, it's Wolcott, it doesn't affect me, whatever. It does. It's you as well now. Wake up. Please watch what's happening here. I feel like we're performing CPR on what may already be a corpse called the Constitution. And there's plenty of people online laughing at us and going, tryhards. But I think it's worth it, and I hope you do too.
Well, you were saying to me earlier that you were HOA president for a while.
Yeah, I'm the Square community, man. I built real estate document search portal sites for Wells Fargo. I am the Square community. But
you were HOA president, Frank and Nick. So this community to happen here, for this to happen here at this intersection on Nicollet in East Street. How do you begin to explain the significance of it happening here today?
Well, the fact of the matter is the person should not have been interfering with federal police. That's the bottom line.
Because video appears to show he's disarmed before shots are fired. So I just want clarity on that. And beyond that, I just want to follow up and ask, who within the federal government is leading the criminal investigation, understanding that CBP OPR has opened up an internal investigation? And beyond that, why did federal agents tell Minneapolis Police Department to leave the scene?
We're continuing to follow the exact same protocols that we always have. And so this investigation is ongoing. We're continuing to gather the facts as they unfold throughout that. And we'll do it just like we did under the entire Trump administration and previous administrations. Nothing has changed, and we'll continue to release details as we have them. But I want you to not distract away from the facts of the situation. Our law enforcement officers were there doing a targeted operation against an individual who was in this country illegally and had a criminal conviction for domestic assault with intent to do bodily harm and other convictions as well. This individual went and impeded their law enforcement operations, attacked those officers, had a weapon on him and multiple dozens of rounds of ammunition, wishing to inflict harm on these officers coming brandishing like that and impeding their work that they were doing. We'll continue to allow. That is a different incident that happened at the same situation after.
So there's a lot going on. Heavy.
The Attorney General, Pam Bondi, joining us live here in studio. AG, thank you so much for coming in.
Sure.
This has been hard to watch for everyone involved. Let me just get your initial thoughts of what's happened here in Minneapolis in the last couple of hours.
Well, why this has happened in Minneapolis is because you have a mayor, you have a governor who has declared Minneapolis a sanctuary city, saying, bring your worst of the worst to Minneapolis. You're invited here. We will protect you. Aisha, these are the arrests. These are just the arrests that ICE has been making. And that's why Donald Trump has ICE in Minneapolis to protect the citizens. Sodomy of a boy, strong arm robbery. Sexual assault, sodomy of a girl under the age of 16. Rape, 12-year-old girl. Strong arm rape, ag assault. Convicted rape, child fondling. These are all the illegals that Joe Biden was letting into our country. And they were all going to Minneapolis because the mayor, the governor, the AG, they were protecting them.
100%.
And Donald Trump is going to protect the citizens of our country. I was there all week, as you saw. I was in Minneapolis, and we are going to protect our churches. We are going to protect our great men and women in law enforcement who were out there doing their jobs today. They were out there arresting a violent offender, and then this guy comes up. I can't talk about more of the details. Chief Bovino talked about that. It's now all pending, but we will support the men and women in law enforcement, and we will support the good citizens of Minnesota if the governor and that mayor aren't going to do it.
Some of the people that you arrested, like you mentioned, in the last couple of days, you feel it was incredibly organized. What can you tell us more about what we're seeing on the ground there? I mean, our Steve Harrigan, who's covered many wars, said that in his own observations, it feels incredibly organized. These people know each other. They know where to go. What do you know about this?
That's right. And I can tell you what I observed when I was there. It's extremely organized. The signs they have are all matching. They're well written. And look at what's happening today. How did these people go out and get gas masks, these protesters? Would you know how to walk out on the street and buy a gas mask right now? Yeah, think about that.
No.
Right. All of these protesters out there right now have gas masks on, matching, very expensive, by the way, gas masks. It's organized. They're out there to cause problems, and they're out there to hinder the great men and women in law enforcement, and we are not going to have it in Minneapolis or anywhere else in this country. We're going to protect our synagogues. We're going to protect our churches. That's why I was there, and we are going to fight back to keep people safe. Our country was founded on religion. Our country was founded on law enforcement, and that's what President Trump believes, and that's what we're going to do.
In the conversation now, national security analyst, retired Marine Corps intelligence officer Hal Kempfer. Hal, thank you so much for hopping on for this breaking news. So this is now the second deadly shooting involving federal agents in recent weeks. The Trump administration up to this point has said, rhetoric from public officials, it's leading to this violence. And if you would just let us into your jails, we've heard this time and time again from the border czar, Tom Homan, we wouldn't have to be roaming the streets doing these types of operations. What are your thoughts on some of those claims?
Kelly, my thoughts are we might be at a strategic inflection point in terms of what's going on from a White House standpoint. President Trump, of course, has already threatened more than once about imposing the Insurrection Act. My understanding is the White House made some comments about it that where he basically said that what Governor Walz was saying, what the mayor of Minneapolis was saying, was basically, quote, inciting an insurrection, unquote. That sounds to me like the president is poised to potentially invoke the Insurrection Act. And that does change things. That would allow federal troops to actually be deployed to Minnesota. And with the Insurrection Act in place, they actually could do law and order activities, law enforcement activities on the streets. And that would be a huge shift. That would be similar to kind of what we've seen earlier, sort of what we saw in Washington, D.C. But obviously, the mayor of Minneapolis and the governor of Minnesota do not want to see that at all. And it does set up a potentially politically precarious situation, but also a very dynamic situation on the streets of Minneapolis.
Right. Dynamic to know. Also, there are concerns about escalation all at the same time. So what do you see as the impact of those troops being sent in?
Well, initially, based on what I'm seeing so far, and of course, as we see in this scene, a lot of protest activity, setting up barricades. This is getting close to the stuff you kind of see, obstructing federal law enforcement, and that would be the legal predicate that the president would probably cite, the White House would cite for invoking the Insurrection Act. And if that does happen, you'll probably
just want to point out, viewers, guess what's in the middle of it all? The Palestinian flag. As usual, if there's trouble, you can guarantee you'll see the Palestinian flag.
See a brigade, about 1,500 troops, the last what they said, a brigade of troops flying out from Alaska from the 11th Airborne Division. And then there is the possibility the president could turn around and federalize either part or all of the Minnesota National Guard, which would deny Governor Walz the ability to even use the Guard, the Minnesota National Guard in his state if they're federalized. And I have no doubt that all of this will be challenged in court, but those are some things that could be done by the White House, particularly citing the implication of the Insurrection Act.
Right. And the president at this hour, or the administration as a whole, the DOJ, launching this investigation into Governor Walz, also Minneapolis Mayor Frye. And I'm curious, Hal, of your thoughts on this, because the governor did post to X in recent hours that Minnesota's had it, that this is sickening. The president must end this operation, pull the thousands of violent, untrained officers out of Minnesota now. And obviously, this death is a tragedy, but what are the...
He's a whole heap of trouble. I hope he gets put away for life. Tim Walz, he's a criminal.
Ramifications of this sort of rhetoric, calling these officers violent and untrained as you see it. We have about 20 seconds left.
Yeah, I just want to point out they're neither intrinsically violent nor untrained. I hear this untrained thing a lot from a lot of different points. They went to the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. They went through a curriculum of training. They were all selected to go there. Many of them are veterans who have had a lot of military training. Many of them come from other types of law enforcement, whether corrections or sworn officers. So this idea that they're untrained, it seems to be a narrative, and putting out that narrative, which is implicitly false, I think adds a lot of fuel to the fire, if you will, which eventually could lead to the imposition or the invoking of the Insurrection Act.
Well, I certainly appreciate that context, Hal. Always great to see you. Thank you.
That was the first time we got a little bit more information on what happened. We had talked to the police chief this morning who said, I know very little. Greg Bovino giving more information as he says the federal account was that at the end of the day that an agent feared for his life.
And that an individual with that 9mm violently resisted arrest were Bovino's words, saying that an agent fired defensive shots, that person had 2 loaded magazines, and that he considered this an attempt at a massacre against law enforcement.
And we should be clear that person that they shot, Bovino says, was a citizen who saw them trying to arrest
this other gentleman,
an undocumented immigrant who they were going after, supposedly someone with a criminal record. And he intervened in the situation in some way. Now, he didn't explain how police saw the gun or what led to that. And then we had a good question from our Connor White that was unanswered about what you're saying doesn't appear to be the same story as what's happening in the video.
The video that we're seeing thus far, which is one angle that we've seen reportedly, and obviously we know, as we've heard from our reporters out there in South Minneapolis, that there are folks recording and documenting this everywhere. So it is very likely that we're going to see
that's the video.
So, gun, and then they've had to shut him down.
Been watching is this video and wanting to know what led up to it.
So I'm going to play that video in slow motion, viewers. I'm going to play that in slow motion. Just let me get to it. Where is it? Sorry. There. Let's play that in...
everywhere. So it is very likely that we're going to see...
Let's play that in slow motion. Go. Go.
It is very likely that we're going to see...
That's the video. Everybody's...
Now, you can see that guy, that's the guy in the middle on his knees, lurching up with his hand down around his waist. Right? And somebody's gone, gun, I would say, and they've had to neutralize him. Watch.
Been watching is this video.
Yeah, he reached for a gun.
What led up to it?
He reached for a gun.
And we got a little bit of information from that today. The president, right before this press conference started, put a message out on Truth Social. So we are getting that in right now.
Yeah, let's bring that to you if we can pull that up. This is the message from President Trump. It reads, "Where are the local police? Why weren't they allowed to protect ICE officers?"
That's
the mayor
correct.
And the governor called them off. Now he's asking that as a question, as you can see on the screen. it is stated that many of these police were not allowed to do their job, that
Yep.
ICE had to protect themselves. Not an easy thing to do the first
Yep.
time that we are hearing from President Trump today.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll hear more from them and more from DHS. And again, we just heard from Bavino's side, but there's a lot of conflict, and as you can see, emotions are running so high, and people are upset, and they're completely disregarding the order of hey, please don't go to the area.
Right.
Please disband. They're doing the opposite, and it's not a judgment statement. That's just a factual statement, because I know that people are upset and they're angry, and it's a very emotional time, and people are really passionate. And to wake up on a Saturday morning and see another person in Minneapolis shot and killed at the hands of an ICE officer is extraordinarily upsetting to folks.
Tense protests continue to break out near a Minneapolis intersection where Border Patrol agents shot and killed a 37-year-old man this morning. The Department of Homeland Security
shot and killed an armed, resisting arrest Minnesota man.
He says the man was carrying a semi-automatic handgun along with 2 high-capacity magazines and violently resisted being disarmed. Garrett Tenney is in Minneapolis with more. Garrett.
Yeah, John, so we moved from the site of the shooting over to the Federal Whipple building, and we are here because this is where officials said the National Guard will first be arriving to relieve the Sheriff's Department here to free them up to be able to help with other parts of the city. We actually saw just 30 seconds ago the first sign of the National Guard arriving here, multiple National Guard trucks that came right past here and went right there down the road. So what we can see here is that this has been one of the central points of protest over the last 3 weeks almost now, and you can see they have erected these concrete barriers and this fencing, and you see protesters lined all along this fencing here, and they are staged here like they're going to be here for a while. You can see there's a snack table back here. There's a propane heater with a propane tank. They have blankets as well for anyone who's feeling cold, because it is negative 10, negative 12 degrees. But this is the first place that the National Guard is going to be being deployed to, what could be the first of multiple areas around the city, as we wait to see, as we go into this evening, what happens with these protests. And if, in fact, like the governor and the mayor have said, that they do have enough forces on hand to be able to control things and keep things calm and peaceful, is what they were calling for people to do. But we're going to be keeping an eye on that going forward, John.
So to be
the
clear,
governor and the mayor have completely lost control. I don't know what he's talking about. Okay, let's play this back. I've got it on slow. There's Pretti there, apparently. Let's just watch.
People, the fuck is wrong with you? Honestly.
So these people were interfering with the federal operation, as we know, but Pretti's down in there. So they're trying to get order. This is the thing. I think they're trying to point out what federal policeman shot him. He's down in here violently resisting arrest. There's a part in the footage where he lurches up. You can see it from a different angle. This guy has, obviously they're saying he's got a weapon, now there's an alarm. This is how quick it can happen. Somebody might have shouted out, gun, gun then. And they've shot him. But let's just go back to that. He's dead. He's gone, unfortunately. Okay, so here's an image of Alex Jeffrey Pretti interfering with the federal agents. He's age 37. He's an ICU nurse at the Minneapolis VA Veterans Affairs Health System. His citizenship background reported as a U.S. citizen born in Illinois. Criminal record, AP and Star Tribune report no criminal record aside from minor things like parking and traffic tickets. Multiple outlets report he participated in protests connected to Minneapolis ICE-related actions and the earlier killing of Renee Good. He was there for that. Star Tribune quotes a colleague saying they weren't surprised he was out protesting given the city's climate. What happened, high level, because details are still contested, we have to be careful, but AP describes the incident as a federal officer shooting him during the broader immigration crackdown tensions and protests, and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz activated the National Guard amidst escalating unrest. Local coverage reports memorial gatherings near the location where he was shot. No major reliable reporting has been found as to his religious explicitity. LA Times and Star Tribune coverage in the sections available doesn't identify his faith. There is reporting about a Jewish community event, Havdalah of Hope, at the Temple Israel moving online after the shooting, but that's about community response and safety concerns, not proof of his religion. What should you treat as unknown? This is what you should treat as unknown until the investigation lands. They say he was armed, and that's what exactly triggered whether he was armed, what exactly triggered the confrontation and the legal justification for the shooting. Claims and video interpretations are flying around fast. The cleanest, reputable summaries right now emphasise that much remains unclear and investigations are ongoing. So we're going to leave that there. Rest in peace. And for people in Australia, don't, and Minnesota or anywhere else, don't interfere with police because you're going to lose your life. Bye for now.